In November 1932, in the vast farmlands of Western Australia, Australian Army soldiers stood behind their heavy machine guns, preparing to open fire. They were not facing an enemy army. There were no tanks, no airplanes, and not even soldiers carrying weapons. Instead, there was a group of birds. Thousands of birds spread across the land. To the soldiers, the mission seemed incredibly easy. A few minutes of shooting and the problem would be solved. But what happened next was so embarrassing that this military operation would go down in history as one of the strangest wars ever fought by any army in the world. After firing thousands of rounds of ammunition, and after sending trained soldiers and real military equipment, the army failed to achieve its objective. Even worse, newspapers began mocking the entire operation, and people started talking about something nobody had imagined could happen: an entire country losing a war against birds. So how did Australia reach this point, and how did a group of birds manage to create all this chaos? And now, let's say hello to Cervex. To understand what happened, we need to go back several years. After World War I ended, thousands of Australian soldiers returned home, looking for a new life. The government encouraged many of them to become farmers and granted them large areas of land in remote parts of Western Australia. At first, everything seemed perfect. The land was fertile, the crops were growing, and the farmers expected successful seasons that would help them build a better future. But at the same time, there was another creature living in those regions that had absolutely no interest in human plans. That creature was the emu. The emu is one of the largest birds in the world. It can grow to nearly 2 meters tall and run at speeds exceeding 50 kilometers per hour. Although it cannot fly, it has incredible endurance and can travel long distances. Every year, huge numbers of these birds migrated across vast areas of Australia. In 1932, tens of thousands of them arrived in the farming regions where the new farmers were working. At first, nobody thought the situation was serious, but it was only the beginning of the disaster. The birds began trampling crops as they moved, eating large amounts of food and destroying the fences surrounding the farms. With each passing day, the damage increased. Farmers tried to chase the birds away, but their numbers were enormous. They would drive away one group only for another to return immediately afterward. Over time, the problem became too large for the farmers to handle on their own. Complaints began reaching the Australian government. The farmers were angry and demanded a quick solution. After many discussions, a very unusual decision was made. If the birds were causing all these problems, why not use the army to eliminate them? The government agreed and sent soldiers equipped with Lewis machine guns, weapons that had been used in real wars. To many people, it seemed like a quick end to the problem. After all, how could a group of birds possibly withstand military weapons? The soldiers arrived in the area confident of success. As soon as they spotted the first large gathering of birds, they prepared to open fire. But the surprise was that the birds did not behave as everyone expected. The moment the shooting began, the emus split into smaller groups and started running in different directions at incredible speed. The soldiers tried to aim while the birds disappeared among the grass and bushes. Within minutes, the first operation ended with extremely disappointing results. The number of birds eliminated was far lower than the army had expected. The soldiers believed it was simply bad luck and that the next attempt would be better. But the following attempts were not any better. Every time they tried to ambush the birds or get close to them, the emus quickly scattered and escaped the gunfire. In one attempt, the soldiers mounted a machine gun on a vehicle to chase the birds while moving. But the rough terrain caused the vehicle to shake violently, making accurate aiming nearly impossible. The result was that the birds continued to escape while the soldiers consumed more and more ammunition. As the days passed, newspapers began publishing sarcastic reports about the operation. Some journalists described the emus as if they were an organized army with leaders and battle plans. Others said the birds were behaving more intelligently than anyone had expected. Of course, the birds were not creating real military strategies, but the reality was clear. The army was not achieving the results it had promised. After firing thousands of rounds and spending significant time and effort, the government decided to stop the operation. Yes, the Australian army withdrew, while the emus continued roaming the same regions. Although the government later used other methods to reduce the problem, such as building fences and offering financial rewards to farmers. The military operation itself was considered a clear failure. As the years passed, the story became one of the most famous strange tales in history. It was not a war in the traditional sense, and the birds did not achieve a real military victory. However, the fact that remained in people's memories was simple. An army armed with machine guns went to fight birds, and then left without accomplishing its mission. That is why many people still refer to the incident today as the Emu War. Perhaps the strangest part of the entire story is that the birds never even knew they were participating in a war. Yet despite that, they became one of the most famous creatures in Australian military history. Now we have reached the end of the episode, my friend. If you're Australian, don't forget to subscribe. And if you're not Australian, subscribe anyway. There's no problem with that. I'll see you in the next video, my friend.